Hey guys, this is your host Thomas Tyree here from On the Hot Podcast. Today, this would be the Combat Series episode number 92 for you guys today. And to kick off this week's episode, I'll be sharing my updated UFC men's pound for pound list. So this is my updated UFC men's pound for pound list, starting off with fighter number 1 and going all the way down to number 10. And I'll be going into the reasons why I have these respective fighters ranked at their respective positions right now. So starting out with number 1, I think Islam Makhachev is the best fighter in the UFC today, currently the reigning defending lightweight champion in the UFC. Tied for Khabib, his cousin, for the most successful lightweight title defenses with 4 successful title defenses. 2, I have Jon Jones, the greatest of all time, currently the heavyweight champion. His resume speaks for itself, all-time great. 3, I have Ilia Topuria. Ilia Topuria is the only man to knock out some all-time greats at the featherweight division, Alexander Volkanovski and Max Holloway, in the same calendar year to make him a top 3 respective fighter in the UFC today. 4, I have Merab. Impressive victories at the bantamweight division against the likes of Sean O'Malley and Umar, and currently is the king of the bantamweight division. 5, I have Dricus du Plessis. Dricus du Plessis, I like his 2 victories that he had against Sean Strickland. Well, just defeated Sean Strickland twice now. Is the only man to make Israel Adesanya submit in the octagon. He's number 5 on my list. 6, I have Magomed Ankalaev after his impressive dominating victory against Alex Pereira last weekend. 7, I have Alexandre Pantoja. 8, I have Tom Aspinall. 9, I have Alex Pereira. And 10, I have the king of the welterweight division, Belal Muhammad. So that is my top 10 UFC pound for pound rankings. Now let's go into a deeper dive why I have these respective 10 fighters ranked at the positions that they are in today. So, Islam Makhachev, the reason why I have him at number 1, the king of the lightweight division, I think he's the best UFC fighter in the world today. In the conversation for being the greatest lightweight fighter in UFC history, because he has 4 successful title defenses, like I just touched up on, tied with his cousin Khabib for the tie for the most lightweight title defenses in UFC history at 4. And he's also has the second longest win streak in UFC history with 15 straight UFC victories. Islam Makhachev has put together one hell of a run of his UFC career and has the chance to actually break Khabib's all-time record for the most successful title defenses at the lightweight division. Yes, one day he's going to move up to welterweight to possibly become a 2-division world champion, but I think he has at least two more successful, or not successful, but 2 more title defenses at least at lightweight. And he could break that record this year in his next title defense, either fighting someone like Charles Oliveira, Justin Gaethje, or Ilia Topuria next. So Islam Makhachev, I do believe, is the greatest fighter in the UFC today. Now, Jon Jones at 2, it's debatable. Like I just said, Jon Jones is the greatest of all time. His resume is top tier. Nobody can top what Jon Jones has done, being a 2-division world champion, 2-time a light heavyweight champion, currently the reigning defending heavyweight champion. The reason why I have Jon Jones as 2 is he is behind Islam Makhachev due to inactivity. Jon Jones has only fought 3 times since the new decade of 2020. Inactivity matters when you put together a pound-for-pound list. Islam Makhachev is very active in the octagon compared to what Jon Jones has done over the last several years. As I got to take a break because my ear itches. But as I digress, Jon Jones is number 2 on my pound-for-pound list. 3, I have Ilia Topuria. Now, Ilia Topuria is quickly regained my respect and quickly climbed up my pound-for-pound rankings because he knocked out 2 all-time greats at the featherweight division. We're talking about Alexander Volkanovski, who held the title for nearly 5 damn years until Ilia Topuria knocked him out in February 2024 to become the new king of that division before he vacated the title. But it wasn't until after the fact he knocked out another all-time great last year, and Max Holloway. Max Holloway has never been finished in his UFC career. And to his credit, Ilia Topuria was the first guy to knock out Max Holloway, and he's the first guy to ever say he's knocked out those 2 respective fighters and have those marquee victories on his resume. And in my opinion, should have been the UFC fighter of the year last year. I know Alex Pereira had one hell of a run, but when you talk about marquee victories and the names that you beat and how you beat him and you got him out of there within 3 rounds, that's your guy. Ilia Topuria is the real deal. And could he possibly become a 2-division world champion by the end of 2025? I just teased the fight with him and Islam Makhachev. That would be one of the biggest fights of the year. we'll see what the future holds for Ilia Topuria as he's moving up to the lightweight division. Now for Merab, I have Merab very high because this is a guy that has scratched and clawed his way up the bantamweight division over the years. And yes, he could have got a title shot a long time ago, a few years ago, when his best friend Aljamain Sterling actually held the bantamweight title. But Merab, man, he is on one hell of a run because what he did to Sean O'Malley at UFC 306 last year, dominated him for 5 rounds. I scored that fight 5-0, shutout victory for Merab. And then just defeated Umar, another cousin of the legendary Khabib, and defeated these two respective fighters very comfortably. And Merab is a great wrestler, can throw strikes. He has an incredible cardiovascular endurance in that octagon. Merab is the real deal, and I have him as high as 4 on my updated pound-for-pound list. Now 5, I have Dricus Du Plessis, currently the middleweight champion of the UFC today. Has held the title for a year now. That awkward style that DDP possesses is so lethal. It's unstoppable. And I don't want to say the word unbeatable, but who's matching that type of style right now at the middleweight division? I mean, he's a great kickboxer. He has great wrestling skills to keep his opponents ground and make them uncomfortable on the ground. And he has big victories now at this middleweight division, finishing Robert Whittaker in 2023, knocking him out. 2 great victories against Sean Strickland, and like I just said a few moments ago, the only man to make Israel Adesanya submit in the octagon. So he's putting together one hell of a run at this middleweight division. He's defeated 2 all-time greats at this division. He deserves respect. I got him 5 on my pound-for-pound list. Now, Magomed Ankalaev is 6 because he deserves to be a top 5, top 6 fighter on anybody's pound-for-pound list after that victory that he had against Alex Pereira last weekend, and defeated him at his own game in the striking department. He went to plan B when the grappling was not effective for him. When he could not go to the wrestling style and land the takedowns, was 0 for 11, 0 for 12 in the takedown category last weekend against Alex Pereira. But defeated Alex Pereira at his own game, went to plan B, outstriked him, and outlanded him on every category to win by unanimous decision to become the new light heavyweight champion in the UFC. And he also, Magomed, he is pretty boring in my opinion, but as a fighter, you got to give him his respect too, because he's on a 14-fight win streak. And that is one of the longest UFC win streaks of all time at 14 straight victories. So that is impressive for Magomed. 7, I have Alexandre Pantoja, the king of the flyweight division, has had 2 to 3 successful title defenses since winning the title. Seems like he's untouchable at this division. A really good grappler and wrestler as well at the flyweight division. 9, I have, or 9 or 8, I have Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall is really a threat at the heavyweight division. This is somebody that gets fighters out of there within 1 to 2 rounds, and his finish rate is very effective right now. The interim heavyweight champion, great wrestler, good striker. He's a threat at this heavyweight division, and he's had this interim title for nearly a year and a half, nearly 2 years. It's a year and a half. He deserves his shot against John Jones this summer. I think we're going to get that. But Tom Aspinall, 8 on my list. 9 is Alex Pereira. Now, Alex Pereira did take a big dip in the pound-for-pound list because before this fight against Magomed, I would have him top 3 with the likes of, behind the likes of John Jones is on Makhachev. That was until he lost last weekend against Magomed Ankalaev. Despite that loss, I still think that Alex Pereira is a top 10 pound-for-pound fighter in the UFC. 2-division world champion. His resume speaks volumes for somebody that has not been in the UFC for very long. 2-division world champion. Had 4 title defenses in under 500 days. That shows you the commitment that he has to fighting the best of the best in the UFC. And I think he has a true chance to become the first fighter in UFC history, male or female, to become a 3-division world champion in UFC history one day when he does move up to the heavyweight division. And I think he could do that eventually before his UFC career ends. But Alex Pereira still deserves to be on this list. And 10, Belal Muhammad. Belal Muhammad is the king of this welterweight division. And he's also on a 11-fight winning streak as well. He deserves his flower and his credit for how he decimated and dominated Leon Edwards last year to become the welterweight division. I mean, the takedowns, the wrestling made Leon Edwards very uncomfortable. Leon Edwards could not adapt to that type of style that Belal Muhammad was giving him all night long. And at one point, he picked him up and landed a takedown, which basically took down Leon Edwards. Leon Edwards had dribbled off the octagon to the point where it looked like I was dipping my chicken nugget in a sweet and sour sauce or honey mustard. That's how bad he was dribbling his head off the octagon last summer. Now, my thing is, Belal Muhammad, you need to be more active with this welterweight title because you have not been in the octagon since July. And I know he had to miss out towards the end of the year with an injury, but we got to see Belal Muhammad more active. But that is my current UFC men's top 10 pound-for-pound rankings in the MMA world inside the UFC world.